Welcome to the Dice Are Bad Storytellers. I'm your DM for tonight, Jacom Clarkson, and I'm joined with Phil Mathis playing Johan. This is after dark, after hours, because Johan's been a bad boy, and Johan's done some pretty awful things. We're going to start off this session the same morning that we started the last session on, where Johan wakes up as the ship is being docked in Old Wessex. And he wakes up and goes about, wakes up and sees around. What's Johan's first instinct to do?
So they're in Old Wessex, or they're still on the ship?
You're docked in Old Wessex, and people are starting to leave the ship.
Sounds good. He's going to let them leave the ship. He's going to take his little posse and about 10 other warlocks, and they're going to just storm the castle.
You go beeline the castle. Do you disguise yourself as Karina?
I do.
You do. As you're leaving, you see Emery's father, Mr. Warren, walk off the dock, tears streaming down his face, and walk into a path down into the poorer areas of Old Wessex. I'll roll for that in a little bit. You start going toward the castle. People are confused by the tower, by the cat, this entourage returning after so much hullabaloo of going to the mainland. There are a couple people who are angry, but there are town criers who explain the situation and what happened, that Karina's returned, and Emery's betrayal. And you see there's a lot of disbelief as well as belief, and just the whole nation kind of reverberates with this confusion. And you and your 10 warlocks, I assume Elizabeth is with you.
Yeah, disguised as Edward.
Awesome. Disguise as Edward. Do you give Swissine a disguise?
No.
Okay. Then you guys storm the castle, go up there. Swissine kind of leans and she's like, I don't hate your look as a girl. You make a good girl. Just kind of goofing with you as you're walking up. And this is a victory lap, man. The defenses are just like, Karina's return. There are nobles there and Congress people that are, considered valid. As you come in, someone says, just this morning, Justikar Malik has passed away.
Oh no, what a shame. Well, then we should go about appointing a new Justikar.
Yes, we will discuss it in Congress and get the clergyman of Torin here immediately.
And that would take how long?
It's customary for it to be a month. They kind of look confused at that question.
I think the longer this kingdom goes without a Justikar in these trying times, the worse. I think we should just appoint one ourselves.
They kind of look back and forth. This is some like statecraft stuff, and that's like the equivalent of being like the parliament being like, "Do we need a king?" And so they're like, I suppose you have the authority to question that. Perhaps we'll field it in Congress." They kind of say, not sure if they're part of a coup yet. Now, yeah, you're here. You've expressed that. Everybody's just kind of settling into their rooms. Congress isn't re-meeting. They say that they plan to do that tomorrow, now that everybody's returned and they're settled back from their ships.
Then we do it tomorrow.
The kind of council person goes, yes. He's a very stalwart elvish man. We will field the concern tomorrow. Thank you, young Karina. Would that your husband was here. Nods and kind of retreats back.
Okay, and let's see. I'm
Elizabeth,
yeah, Elizabeth.
Elizabeth has called out and knows that they're trying to contact her, but she's not with you right now.
Okay. So my plan is to try and establish Edward or Elizabeth as Edward as the new Justicar.
Mm.
Um, so I just wait essentially with Swissine as we go throughout um, the castle, just sort of bending people to our will and having them essentially be the servants or be the people we need them to be to make sure that the power we are about to grab stays in our hands.
Gotcha. So how about this? We'll have you roll, just for flavor, roll 3 persuasion checks, and this is just to illustrate you walking around the castle.
Um, 32. Natural 20, so 37. And a 26.
Okay, you start to get people in the castle following you around with a religious fervor. People believe Karina is the chosen ruler of Old Wessex by both God and man, and that
Mm-hmm.
Sir Emery's betrayal revealed this truth. And there are so many logical fallacies and untruths in all of these thoughts, but their minds are truly swayed. They can't even oppose the fervor, and people are crying and laughing and hugging and cheering together as you cavort around the castle, getting more and more people to your side. Um, on that 20, on that lower score, as you're finishing going about, and with that nat 20, like, you get people that are trying to kiss your shoes. The guards are having to forcibly remove them from you because they're so frantically in adoration of you. On that 28, someone comes up and says, uh, there's a riots outside the streets. They need to hear from the ruler again. They were barely convinced by Edward the first time. And I'm going to say, but as you're getting ready to do this, is when she comes up with the necklace and you have that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And so that conversation happens as you're going around the castle and as they're arranging for the speech to happen. And eventually, uh, there's a huge crowd outside of the castle again, just like it was for Edward some time ago, and they're angry, and the castle walls are in ruins just from so many earthquakes that have been slowly being repaired over the past 2 weeks or so. But in a true weird switch of fate, Johan is standing where Edward stood 2 weeks prior.
Mm-hmm. Addressing the crowd, I say, these are troubling times. Earthquakes, assassins, random warriors of pith returning to try and kill your loved ones. But I urge you to stand strong, and we will get through this together as a kingdom, as a community, as a family. I am here for you, and we are all here for each other.
Roll me persuasion with the advantage. And I'm going to tell your success is guaranteed, basically. The thing, let me know what score you got.
31.
With a 31, I'm going to say you notice that the crowd is calmed. What?
Sorry, 32. Bad math.
The crowd is calmed and then emboldened and then excited. And I think Johan can feel something shift in that he can be more exaggeratory. He doesn't have to be diplomatic in the same way as he was when he was performative for like people who are questioning him. He's talking to what are effectively his thralls, right now. And he could say things that were untrue or wildly exaggeratory, or that would encourage doubt in people that didn't believe wholeheartedly in him. You know, you kind of feel like you can go off the rails, frankly, in your communication, and they'd still follow you.
I'm gonna say I have two plans. The betrayal of Sir Emery Warren was unnerving, but I have our best agents working to find that terrorist, to bring him to justice. And I have a few other things to do around here that are going to make things a lot better. First, I must announce the passing of the Justicar. It is quite a sad day. However, I aim to appoint a new Justicar, Edward. And I point to Elizabeth as Edward, who's standing next to me.
You hear confusion and hushed, and then cheers, but they're like tepid. They're like, what? That changes everything. That changes. Can she do that? Is that something she can legally do? Like, you kind of hear those murmurings going around.
Once the council sees my way, I'm confident this will be put through or put into motion. We will be meeting tomorrow to decide what else is going to be done so that we as a nation can move forward. Another thing I'd like to announce is the return of my husband.
Again, like, hush, like, what is, you know, like, isn't he dead? Like, you hear this kind of hush going around.
He is not dead, as many of you had thought. He's very much alive. He's been hiding out for the past 4 years because he felt the world would not accept him for who he was.
I'm gonna say the crowd is eating it up. I'm gonna say Elizabeth like kind of turns and looks to you for a second, and Swissine is like unaffected, like she's nodding along with you. But I'm gonna say like you sense a moment of what coming from Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Now that he is
that,
back, he wants to do right by everyone he has done wrong and be a good king.
I'm gonna say people start like yelling and screaming and like waving their hands in the air, and like you can see like there was like a small political sect of people that believed your father should be king, and you see them losing their minds. You can see like a small sect of these countrymen, and you know, wearing a certain like garb, like all of them like kind of represent that sect. Like they are losing their mind. They were like being vindicated in the most incredible way.
He will address you all tomorrow.
Wild, on disbelief, crazed energy in the crowd, and you can like the trumpets blare. People kind of recognize this is probably the end of the discourse. Is there anything you want to say before you end your speech?
I would like everyone to be merry and celebrate, for today is a wondrous day, as we, as Old Wessex, reaffirm our position on this world as a great nation.
You start seeing some eldritch blasts shoot up into the air like fireworks, and just raucous celebration as you enter back into the castle. Um, yeah. what else would you like to do now that you've seized control of the kingdom? And Elizabeth is still with you. Swasine is still with you. Swasine is just enjoying cavorting around the castle. She'll like show up every once. I'll be like, I found another secret passage. This place is loaded, and it's just kind of enjoying her free reign of the castle.
Mhm.
And yeah, you are in what was the Brightlands Castle, 8 years ago. What is the Pudgefoot Castle was the Pudgefoot Castle 4 years ago, and since 2-3 weeks ago was rightly the Hollow Castle, and you've only just been able to have your first stay there.
Mhm. Well, now that that's done, we can get down to business, making sure that my rule is not cut short. Where's the nearest teleportation circle we need? What is Realm Query? What was it called? It wasn't called Realm
Midway.
Query when we were there. Yeah. We need to get to Midway as quickly as possible.
Elizabeth goes, I'll get our wizards right on it. She kind of nods. They go up to a tower. It's kind of like their wizard's tower. There are a series of wizards there. You go to the teleportation circle, and they go, we typically like to ping out to these to make sure that they're operational for safety purposes. Is that all right, my lord? He bows, this kind of older wizard man. Uh-huh.
Go ahead. Give it a try.
He puts a small creature in the teleportation circle, like a rabbit, and he tries to teleport it off, and the spell fails. He goes, uh, uh, "My lord, the only thing that could do this is the teleportation circle has been destroyed in Realm Query."
Well, there are other ways this will work, right? We can teleport close by. We don't have to have a specific place linking to it.
Well, we can, but you would have to have a series of wizards to protect you. What if you teleported underneath the sea or in the air? The lack of accuracy would be dangerous.
Neither of those things concern me.
They look. Yes, we can send you. We would have no way to bring you back until you so desire. I mean, unless you brought a wizard with you and the teleportation circle was in effect. Um, you would have to find stable land. I will do as you ask, my lord. I just simply wish to stress that it is dangerous.
I understand the danger, and you understand the danger quite well as well, which is why you're coming with me.
Oh, I mean, I could roll persuasion, but I'm going to say it's very clear he does not want to do that. But he knows he doesn't have a choice. Uh,
Mhm.
when would we leave, my lord?
First light.
I will prepare myself. He says, like a white pallor coming to his face. You see, there are a series of other wizards who are like, all of these wizards are like maybe level 8 maximum. Like this guy is might be a level 10 wizard, and he's the best wizard you have. Like that's kind of the height of magical power in the realm.
Mm-hmm.
And so these guys can do what you're asking, but just barely. Like even the younger wizards who would do the teleportation to you there would be stretched thin by this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, do you like walk back to kind of into the main castle area after delivering this?
I do, yeah.
I'm gonna say
And
Swiss. Yeah,
Elizabeth,
she's walking by you. Yes.
if you have something to say, please say it.
Nothing to say. I wasn't aware you were scared to show yourself those 4 years. I thought you were avoiding politics intentionally.
I was being hunted by Salamel.
Is not Salamel a god of supporting? I mean, I didn't believe Salamel was evil. To be hunted by a good god, isn't that a dream for most?
Not when your intentions are not necessarily the best.
Right.
I willfully sided with Pith. I could only assume Salamel wanted me gone as the only last connection she had, and the only one potentially capable of rescuing her.
Right. That makes sense. I simply
Also,
seek to understand you better.
my first act as king was to kill the Emperor's son and to massively hypnotize an entire crowd of people at a wedding and try and whisk away my new bride. Now tell me, does that not sound like a person who'd be hunted for quite a high bounty?
It does sound like someone who'd be hunted. You are right. Being dead was your greatest choice. I agree. She kind of nods. If you'd like to roll insight on her, feel free.
Not great. It's a 5.
With a 5, she's being she doesn't fully understand. Like with your insight on that, she doesn't fully understand, but she's being deferential in lieu of wanting to understand you and listening more and understanding more of your personality and more of those intricacies. Um, I will say with a 5, that's not the entire story. There's more going on there that you don't know, but that is what you detect as Johan.
I'm going to say, Elizabeth, you've kept Edward alive, haven't you?
You see her eyes shoot open. I do not know if he's alive, but I have thrown a keg of water and some food into the room that he's been kept at, simply because the idea of him starving, right, made my blood run cold. He is still there. I believe you may have use for him, and I actually let me roll a luck check for this. Let me see. 3 it says I did not feed him the day after you told me to not do anything without your discretion. But again, last night I couldn't sleep, and so I gave him further food.
What use do you think he still has?
She kind of smiles, is like, he's one who hurt you, right? Entertainment. You wanted to hurt Emery. You didn't want to make his life harder. You wanted to make him hurt.
It's time to send a message. Kill him.
Okay. How would you like me to do so? Leave him in the room, take him from the room so you can kill him?
Just leave him in there.
It will be done. She nods. I'm going to say you're still running at that 5 insight. She is becoming more and more obedient the more she understands how crazy you are. Not crazy isn't a fair word, how intense you are, you know? And I think as Johan becomes more intense, because I think the King Johan, after these past 5-7 days, is a much different ego and energy than he was on that ship. So I think she's starting to kind of get what flavor of King Johan is. But again, with a 5, there's still a little room for vagueness, and I want to make that clear. As that happens, as you're kind of finishing the conversation, Swissine teleports next to you. Walks out of a doorway. He goes, "Honey, are you going on a trip? Are you going to bring me?"
Of course I'm going to bring you.
Well, why do you need those old fogey wizards? I can bring you anywhere in the world you want to go.
Can you bring me and some friends?
She goes, "Well, yes, I can."
Wonderful. Elizabeth. Sorry. First off, timing-wise, what is happening in the main story right about now? Are they crash landing?
This is approaching nighttime, so yeah, they've crash landed and the combat is in midway, is progressing.
Okay, sounds good. Elizabeth, everything that we do here is going to potentially be undone if they get to Pith or to Reliquary before we do. But I need someone to stay here to make sure things go well while I'm
Talking with
away.
Elizabeth,
Yeah.
she goes, yes, I can do that. I'm honored you trust me with this. She does a small bow. You would know that the necklace has been destroyed as well. You know that after that exchange that they destroyed their half of the necklace. Elizabeth is like she's a violent person, and she's not adapting as quickly to this noble gait as Johan is, but she's starting to get it, and she's honored by this offer that you've given. Yeah, I've got one other thing that may happen at the end of this session, if you'd like to hear it. But I want to make sure you have time to do whatever you want to do until night hits.
I'm going to go to each council member individually.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to just talk to them and explain my point. Specifically, this is like talking to a politician and trying to sway them to your point of view before the debate kind of thing.
Gotcha. So we'll do another 3 performance checks just again. I know that they're kind of foregone conclusions, but they're good for illustrating things.
First one is a 34. Second one is a 24. Third one is a 37, so natural 20.
Wow, okay. So I'm going to say you're very competent at speaking to these people, and you adapt your words to what you know they care about. Like some of these clergymen, you make it really clear, we're performing a coup, and I believe that you will have a seat of power in this place. The next one, you'll be like, abstaining with your vote is very wise, but furthermore, if you were to oppose this vote, you're tricking them into voting incorrectly, things like that. On that 37, again, you get another person like considering you the next Messiah. Like they're just like kissing your feet.
And I'm doing this as Johan, by the way.
Yeah. Like they think that they're part of like the deepest political secret and unraveling and like new world order ever occurring. I mean, you could even choose to be Karina for some and Johan for others, whoever you think will be the most effective.
Yeah, so let's do that.
By this point, when you are base Johan and you aren't applying anything to you, your skin is just almost exclusively tattoos. You are just covered in black marks of liar, 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 liar. It's easy for you to disguise yourself immediately and get rid of them, but when you are in a mirror alone and you're not using any magic, that's what's all over you. Okay, so we've touched on that. 2 things. That night, I believe his name was, I can't remember his name now, but Mr. Warren, Emery's father, comes to the castle, weeping, crying. He's got blood on his hands. And he reports to you. And the guards have just let him in, even with blood on his hands. Like they've no idea, but this is kind of story time, so they're allowing them these things to progress. They recognize that he's a thrall if there's warlocks. He comes up, he goes, I couldn't get the wife, but I got my daughter, and my wife ran off with my boy. I know I still gotta kill him, but what should I do now?
Do you know where they ran to?
I got. He's crying again. I got some family over by the Hollow Estate. They probably just ran uptown to stay with her. She has some family. I'm a bastard. I'm a bastard.
I motion to the guards, who are obviously listening in on this conversation, and I say, "Sorry,
You're
my
good.
cat is protesting everything, existence, and all of that." I'm going to motion to them, and then I'm going to say, we know where the family of the traders, or family members of the trader reside. You know what to do."
So you send him with guards?
Yeah.
Okay. He goes right this way. He starts walking out. With that, can I invite your character to like go out on the terrace, just kind of be outside and viewing the kingdom he now owns in his mind?
Yeah, sure.
Your character goes outside and is on the uh, porch, the porch basically, and is walking about and sees this beautiful sunset, nature rejoicing, like just life recovering from this earthquake. And in his mind, the world is at peace. Everything is as it should be. It's right. Everything's good. Um, love that cat.
He's
and
such a nuisance.
um, we'll stop this because I want the impact of this to hit this, and I want you to have some input on what's going through Johan's mind. Swissine is up there cuddling with him, just being all over him and enjoying his company. When Johan looks down to the beach and he sees a small kind of raft with a makeshift mast in the center of it and a sail on it, and he sees a shock of black hair and a dress just like his mother would wear. And he sees this boat landing on the beach down on the shore of Old Wessex. What's going through Johan's mind?
Johan he falls to one knee, or
Honey,
loses his footing and collapses, but catches himself on the guardrail. And says, "Mother, why now?"
Susine's
And
looking out with you.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
take me down to her, Swissine.
Swissine begins to walk you down. The guards escort you down, and the dock workers greet your mother as you see her coming down. Do you want to end there, or would you like to talk to her before we end?
I want to talk to her for a minute.
Okay. You cross the town. The town is in this strange hush. Do you go down as Johan without thinking about it, or
I do,
do you
yeah. I go down as Johan disguised as a Johan that doesn't have tattoos on him.
Gotcha. You hear hush, 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 whisper, whisper, whisper all over the place as people recognize who you are. Sussine does a quick disguise on herself, just out of concern, and you walk up to your mother, who totally unaware of everything that's happened. She's at like the dock, and she gives them some coins to dock, and she's like, "Why, that earthquake we had recently was awful, wasn't it? I'm glad to see everything's still up intact." She's being super sweet. Her breathy voice is just like, "Oh, well, um, time to go find my husband." She kind of laughs at the thing. And I'm going to say, you hear this exchange, and she turns and she looks at you and sees you. And she immediately starts crying and goes, "Johan, you're alive." And she runs up to you and gives you a big hug.
I hug her back.
Sweet, genuine parental hug. She's crying, hot tears. She goes, I thought you were dead. How long have you been? How alive? How long have you been here? Um, let's go along the beach. Dispose of your entourage. Who cares?
I, I, I've only been back for a little while. I, I regret. Father is gone.
I, I'm sorry to hear that. We have a lot to talk about. I he's gone. He's dead.
I don't know. He fell overboard at sea.
I'm gonna say Swissine does a look at you on that. Um,
That'll be a 29 deception.
29 deception. She won't even believe you're lying if someone told her to her face. He goes, right. Well, I trade a husband for a son. A trade I should have made a long time ago. She's laughing and still crying. She's got like so much bad news and good news all at once.
Mother, you trade a husband for a king.
We have a lot to discuss. Uh, I'm like, I can't even act it very well because I'm not comfortable going this intense over over camera. But like,
Mm-hmm.
she's a mess. She's a huge, sopping, tear-strewn mess, and like everything you say is a new, difficult thing to process. But she's just holding you and being with you and being around you. Um, she goes, the advice you gave me 4 years ago was the best advice I've ever gotten, and I found my way and lived on an island alone and hid from his searing, your father's scrying, and I have been away for a long time, and it has been lovely living on my own. Um, but enough about me. I just want to know more about you, and you guys walk wherever you wish to walk. She offered the beach. You could walk back to the castle.
We walk back to the castle. The beach is not safe. For her, not for me. Um, and then eventually I make sure she finds a room, and that's where I'll go ahead and go to bed.
Okay. You go to bed with your mother back in your life for now. And I guess we'll call it there.
Mm-hmm.